everybody, welcome back to Mathematics. Today we are going to talk about mean, median, mode and range. But let's start talking about why do we need them. To explain that, I'm going to use an example. Imagine we have the results of a test in a group of students, like given in this image, and maybe someone wants to know the performance of the group in the test. So you are not going to start telling that Andrew got 8.2, Zara got 9.5, and then Jack got 7.3. No, that would be so much. And imagine the group is not these 9 students, but the group is 40, 100 students. So we need some measures that allow us to describe the group with a single number. And that is going to give us an idea about how the whole group did. So these numbers, mean, median, mode, and range, is going to help us to describe the performance of the group. So let's going to start checking how do we get them. So the first is the mean. That is what we usually heard as average. Usually when people talk about average, they are talking about the mean. But the real thing is that mean, median, and mode, they are all 3 average measures. In order to understand a little bit better what is the mean, let's imagine that I want to take points from some students and give it to another students until we get the same result for everybody. For example, I'm going to take away 1 from this student, so it's going to get 8.5, and I'm going to give it to this student, so this student is going to get 8.5 too. And I do the same with all of them until everybody has exactly the same points. So that's what the mean is. But of course, doing this process is not very effective, and also because sometimes we could have more than 9 students. So what we would do is just add all the points together and distribute in the same amount for each student. So in this case, we would do the addition of all the numbers. That is equals to 75.1. And then we distribute it equally among all the students. So this would be 75.1 divided by 9. We would get 8.34. This 4 is going to repeat, so I'm just going to round it to 2 decimals. So it's going to be 8.34. So it's like everybody got 8.34 if we distribute equally all the points available. So notice that this value is representative of the group, because there are some people that got more, of course, but also some people that got less than that. So if we distribute the whole thing between the number of students, we would get 8.34. And that is the mean, what you usually heard as average. Let's check the median. The median is another average measure. The median is the value right in the middle. So half of the students are going to have more than that, and half of students are going to have less than that. So in order to do that, we just need to organize the data. So we are going to start from the smallest one, 7.3, then 7.5, 8.2. Since it's repeated, we need to put it as many times as we find it. Then the 8.5, and so on. Okay, once we have all the data organized, in this case we have 9 results. That means the one in the middle is going to have 4 on the left and 4 on the right. This would be the value in the middle. Notice that it has 4 values on the left and 4 values on the right. That means half of the results are bigger than that and half of the results are smaller than that. But let's imagine for a moment that this student wasn't there. So that means its result also doesn't exist. So we wouldn't put the 7.3 here. In that case, the 8.2 doesn't divide in half anymore, because we would have 3 on the left and 4 on the right. So if we want to get the one that is right in the middle, we are going to get actually 2 in the middle, 8.2 and 8.5, because on the left of them we have 3 values and on the right of them we have also 3 values. So which one should be the median in this case? Well, we would find the mean between these two. So that means we are going to add them together, 8.2 plus 8.5, which is 16.7. And then we divide it by 2 to get 8.2. 8.35. Notice this 8.35 is right in the middle of 8.2 and 8.5. So this would be the median of this new set of data. So remember, when the number of data is even, then you would get the two values in the middle and find the mean between them. And like in this case, when the set is odd, we just take the one in the middle to find the median. Let's talk about the mode. The mode is actually the simplest one. It's just the most repeated value. So the value that you find more times, that is the mode. In this case, the 8.2 appears 3 times. There's no any other number that repeats that much. Actually, it's the only one that repeats. So that value would be the mode. But imagine that this value is not 8.2, but 8.5. That would mean the 8.2 repeats twice and the 8.5 also repeats twice. In that case, we could say that that's a bimodal set because it's going to have two modes, 8.2 and 8.5. If there are more numbers that repeat the same amount of times, or even when there's no numbers that repeats, then we would say that the dataset has no mode. That's also possible. Now let's talk about the range. The range is actually not an average measure because it's not telling us about the value that it takes, but it's going to tell us how variable they are because it's the difference between the biggest one and the smallest one. So in this case, we just need to choose the biggest one possible and the smallest one possible and find the difference between them. So in this case, it's 9.5 minus 7.3. That is going to be 2.2. So that is telling us that the biggest difference between two students is 2.2. This is important because, for example, imagine she didn't get a 9.5 but 10. 0.5 more than she actually got. And this student is going to get 6.8, 0.5 less than he actually got. This is not going to affect the mean. The mean is going to be the same. But the range is going to change because it's going to be 10 minus 6.8. In that case, the range is going to be 3.2. That means the data are more variable because there's a bigger difference between them. So the range is actually going to tell us how different are some values from the other ones. It's a dispersion measure. Also notice that if you say the range is 2.2, you have no idea about the results that the student got. That's why the best way to describe the data is a dispersion measure together with an average measure. When I tell you the mean was 8.34 and the range was 2.2, then you know that the students weren't that different between them and the typical result is around 8.34. That is going to give you a very good idea about how the group did. So basically these measures are going to help us to describe the group and to represent it. Okay guys, this is your time to practice. Let's going to apply these concepts mean, median, mode and range solving these exercises. So use the cards to solve the questions and also find the range in each case. You can pause the video and come back when you have the solution to check your answers. Okay, let's go into solve it. Okay guys, let's put the numbers organized from the smallest to the biggest one. So, since it says the median is 16 and we have an even number of data, we should put the 16 in both of the cards. So in the middle we are going to have the 16 because the mean between 16 and 16 is actually 16. When they are the same number, the mean has the same value. Now, in order to the mode to be 16, there's no other numbers that they are going to repeat twice. Then in order to make the mean equals to 16, let's going to put numbers 1 smaller than 16 and 1 bigger than 16. And then 1 smaller than 15 and 1 bigger than 17. That means that, for example, if we take away 1 from here and put it here, they both are going to be 16. And also if I took 2 from here and put it here, they are both going to be 16. That way, mean, median, and mode are going to be 16. The range is going to be 18, the biggest one, minus the smallest one, 14. So it's going to be 4. Let's see, in this case the mean has to be 17, the mode 18, and the median 17.5. For the median to be 17.5, we could do 17 and 18, because 17.5 is right in the middle of those two numbers. So the median would be right in the middle of these two. Now it says that the mode should be 18, so we should have at least another 18 here. And now we need to worry about the mean. The mean has to be 17. Let's say that with the mean they are all 17. But we cannot repeat numbers because the mode should be 18. The mean is 17, is smaller than 18. So maybe we could just put another 18. We have 3 extra points here because they are one smaller than the mean. So we could put a number that is smaller than the mean for 1 point and another one by 2 points. So here we have 2 points less than the mean and 1 point less than the mean. 3 points. With these 3 points, the mean is going to be 17. Mode 18 because we have it 3 times, and the median is going to be between 17 and 18. That's it. And the range is going to be 18 minus 15, so 3. For this last one, it says that the median is going to be 16. So there's 2 options, 16 and 16 or 15 and 17. In those cases, the median is going to be 16. In this case, it says that we are going to have 2 modes, 15 and 17. Then the best option is to repeat the 15 and the 17. Then we could say 15, 15, 17, 17. We already have the median of 16 and we already have the modes to be 15 and 17. Now the mean has to be 16. In this case they are balanced because this is one smaller than the mean, one smaller and one bigger. So we could put one that is 2 points bigger and another one that is 2 points smaller. So 14 and 18. That way we're going to have the mean of 16. And finally the range is going to be also 18 minus 14, just as the first one. The range is 4. Okay guys, that was all for this video. I hope it was useful. Don't forget to subscribe, book your own lessons with me, and drop any questions you have in the comment box, or if you want me to explain another topic, you can also write it there. Bye bye guys, see you next time.